What's going on, Black Speakers Network family? I want to welcome you back to yet another BSN Speaker Spotlight. We haven't met yet. My name is Brian Olds, president and founder here at Black Speakers Network, where our mission is to equip, connect, and inspire the next generation of Black professional speakers. And Speaker Spotlight is here to give you access to some of the best and brightest Black professional speakers on the planet. They are right here in our BSN community from all across the country and around the world. And this is your opportunity to hear a little bit from them. And so one of the reasons I love Speaker Spotlight is that these are rapid fire interviews, which means that we have 5 minutes to talk to each of our speakers. We have 6 incredible thought leaders from the BSN community that you'll be hearing from tonight. So it's just enough to get a sense of who they are, what they do. You learn a little bit about a lot, I should say, in a very short amount of time, but it's a great chance for you to be able to connect with anybody that you experience here directly. And you can do that on our directory, which is at blackspeakersnetwork.com/find a speaker. The link is in the comments here on social media, whatever platform you are watching this on. Also, if you are interested in delivering your own speaker spotlight, getting access to more stages, be sure to get plugged into the Black Speakers Network premium member community. You can find out more information about that at the link below as well, blackspeakersnetwork.com/join. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it, because we have some incredible speakers waiting backstage patiently, and they are ready to rock and roll. And so my very first speaker, I'm in Baltimore, so I'm headed right on up the East Coast to my guy, Mr. Dr. Carl Stokes Jr., who's in Buffalo, New York. Dr. Stokes, welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight. And if you don't mind, tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. All right. So again, Dr. Carl Stokes Jr., Buffalo, New York. So basically, I'm the Black fatherhood guy. You understand what I'm saying? A little bit about me. Born and raised in Buffalo, grew up inner city, impoverished, almost sort of typical kind of upbringing. Difference was I had a dad who suffered from pretty significant addiction issues and a mother who suffered from mental health issues. So I had to navigate kind of a little bit on my own. And because of not so much guidance, I ended up becoming a father at a very young age. That caused me to make a few mistakes, and I had to learn as I went. So I spent a significant period of my life figuring out the Black fatherhood thing. And that's my mission now, to kind of help Black fathers improve themselves and their relationships with their children.
Outstanding, man. Outstanding. Yeah. First of all, that's incredible. As a Black man myself, who actually didn't have the benefit of being, raised by a father, I know the challenges that can come along with, supporting other men, on that journey. So thank you for that. So now you're the Black fatherhood guy, man. So tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing right now, who you're serving, and any insight onto what's been top of mind for you as you've been working with folks.
Yeah, so I do a lot in the community. My primary thing is the Black community, but Black fatherhood being that integral piece in that. You understand what I'm saying? So professionally, I'm a full-time social work instructor at Erie Community College here in Buffalo. I teach parenting classes, I do counseling work, and just social work is my thing. My doctoral research was on Black student fathers in community college settings and their perseverance. So I'm out there. I wrote a book about Black fatherhood. So I have the professional side and the personal side that I bring to the community.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. And I didn't realize we had this much in common, man. I'm actually a product of community college as well, here in Baltimore, Maryland, the great Baltimore City Community College, man. And so yet another intersection of a journey that sometimes is misunderstood.
Sure.
So what is one thing about being a Black father, or, perhaps fatherhood overall, that you think people often don't understand, whether it be, other parents, like perhaps mothers, you're in education. So I think, that's another really, really interesting thread to pull on. But what's one common misconception that you find yourself having to clear up?
Well, the misconception is that the Black fathers are the ones that are not around. That is just not true. That narrative has been pushed, but according to recent findings and research, it's quite the opposite right now. So my job is to bring that to the forefront while at the same time helping out the brothers who are still struggling. And like I said earlier, a lot of the issues that come across in a lot of Black fathers is the lack of help for themselves. A lot of us are dealing with struggles, mental health issues, depression, and all kinds of things like that. So it can't be reasonably expected to be the best you can be as a parent without fixing yourself first.
That makes perfect sense, man. You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, as I always say. So I would love to know, and I know being an educator yourself and being in an academic environment, I would imagine, particularly from a social work perspective, you always have an audience. You're always on the front lines. The work that you do is not easy. I know that. But what are some of the folks that you are most interested in getting in front of in this mess with your message, and then also what forms do you find yourself most attracted to? Is it conferences, associations, community groups? Like who are you trying to reach right now?
So my number one answer is going to be Black fathers. After that, we're going to say Black men in general. Okay. After that, we're going to talk about those Black children. Okay. Now, I'm not leaving out Black women because my philosophy is once I help the fathers, the men, and the children, the women are going to benefit. Right. So, in terms of where I am and the rooms that I'm in all kinds of rooms. But to be quite honest with you, I really like the groups, the intimate rooms, where I can reach people more on a one-on-one, even if it's after said speaking engagement.
Perfect. Well said. And I know I'm actually part of a group here in Baltimore called Black Professional Men, but I know of several, organizations, multiple cities across the nation that it makes a lot of that are already focused on this work. And I do agree. I think sometimes in the smaller group formats, you can get more done and build a relationship and really be able to help with that transformation. So, man,
Yeah, but I
we're
still like that big room money though. You know what I mean?
well, I mean, again, and sometimes I mean, I don't know of a national conference focused specifically on Black males, and it might be time for one, and it might be, you might be the person that kind of, brings that to the table, Dr. Stokes. So
That's
um
right.
the answer is yes. Both things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
So as we kind of bring the conversation to a close again, I really want to make sure that folks can connect with you, blackspeakersnetwork.com/find a speaker. But before we leave out, can you let folks know what is the most important thing that you want your audience to remember about you and the work that you're doing?
Well, the most important thing I want people to remember is that I'm Dr. Dad, the Black fatherhood guy. Okay. But I want people to really understand that I am just a regular person who made the best of what was offered and worked to get into a position where I can help other people. So that's what I want people to really remember. If I can do it, it can be done.
I listen. I absolutely agree with that. I need somebody to drop Dr. Dad into the comments, whatever platform that you're watching on. And listen, thank you so much for taking a few minutes and sharing with us. Again, Carl Stokes, Dr. Carl Stokes is part of the BSN community. You can connect with him on our directory, and you may be a father. Mention Black fathers and Black men in general. And so, if you are a Black man, highly recommend either getting in touch or tagging somebody into this conversation. But Dr. Stokes, thanks again, and thanks for being part of the Black Speakers Network community as well.
All right. My pleasure, man. Thanks.
No problem. All right, guys. So we are well underway. As you can see from Dr. Stokes, this is what BSN Speaker Spotlight is all about. And it's so cool. I mean, we have folks here who, of course, in a community like Black Speakers Network, people who are advancing the goals, the ideals, and really the opportunities within the Black community are, of course, going to be sought after. And so really, really love the work that he's doing. So our next speaker, was right here, or I think we have quite a few speakers in the DMV today, so that's really good. But our next speaker is right here with me in Maryland. She is in Odenton, Maryland, and that is Rochelle Slay Hemingway. Hemingway, I am so excited that you're here, Rochelle. Welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight, and please tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Olds, and thank you for everyone that's listening in. This is an absolutely amazing opportunity. My name is Rochelle Hemingway, and I'm affectionately called the Slay Queen. I'm the CEO and founder of hashtag Slay, SLAY, to success. I'm a transformational speaker, a coach, an author, and a United States Air Force veteran.
Just kidding. Okay. Yeah. So I will say, first and foremost, thank you so much for your service. And obviously, you are making great strides. So I always like to start at the beginning with people. Can you give us any insight, Rochelle, on what led you down the path to this journey, and what maybe, something that was a significant event that led you to doing the work that you're doing today?
So, my purpose is to use my self discipline and my bold leadership skills to help and empower others to face their insecurities and their fears by using basic life and leadership philosophies, which are staying ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of family, and you are built to last. That is the AKA SLAY. And yes, there was a certain significant event that happened in my life during my career when one of my medics unfortunately lost his battle with depression. And when he lost his battle, the organization that I was leading in the military needed something to help to encourage and inspire them. And so, to pay homage to his life and to heal the organization, I used his favorite word, which was slay. He loved Beyonce, loved the word slay. And so I use it on emails, text messages, correspondence, and I saw the reaction and the response that I was getting, and it was inspiring and motivating people to just lead and lead differently, lead more positively, lead more with those leadership roles that we are looking for in today's world.
Outstanding. So somebody drop slay all caps in the comments for us, because I love a good acronym, and I also love a good the significance behind it. And I think every speaker should have some sort of model, some sort of um, central methodology that you're plugging people into, that informs how you do what you do. So in the leadership development space, no exception. So I love that, Rochelle. Um, how can you give us more insight into like who you really love working with? Like, who are your people? Who's the tribe that you feel most called to serve and to help slay?
Well, my tribe right now is comprised of many women that I have in an exclusive Facebook group. There's about 700 women that are affiliated some way, somehow through the military or by meeting me. And these women are looking to get inspired and motivated and to build and increase their leadership skills. So I often share daily motivations with them, and then I coach women in small group settings, and we talk about slay, the foundational principle, and how to use it in their everyday lives to see how they can be more productive, how it can increase their social currency and increase their visibility while they're in their workspaces.
Excellent. That makes a lot of sense. Now, I know the military. You said you were in the Air Force. The military is essentially, I think, like a leadership factory. Like they, from
Oh
day
yes,
one, they are teaching you, they're preparing you for various levels of leadership, and I think it's kind of up to you to rise to where it is that you're, whatever level that you feel compelled to go to. Has that experience helped inform your leadership approach now?
absolutely. I served 30 years, 3 decades in the United States Air Force. So 10 years, first 10 years was just trying to figure it out. The second 10 years was applying the skills that I was learning, and the last 10 years was mastering those skills. And so the military is certainly a great way to find out who you are, how you like to lead, and get you repetitions. You get those lessons learned quite often. So now when I go and I help others, I inspire them by the stories that I have to share, but I also help them to find their own way in their leadership journey.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 33 decades of experience is absolutely incredible and inspiring. I was actually this close from going to the Air Force. That was my plan. If I didn't get into, we just had Dr. Stokes talk about community college. If I didn't get into community college and then ended up going to a 4 year, the Air Force was like right there because I love everything about it. So I would have kind of connected with you from that perspective. But what's one thing now that a misconception or something, you have a community of 700 plus women. I'm sure there are some things that come up all the time that you are constantly coaching women on or trying to get them to overcome. Like, what's one big thing that you feel like is either typically most often holding women back, that you find yourself addressing over and over again?
It's really about finding their voice and speaking up in a male dominated environment. When there's little support for you in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, you may not know how to get a point across. You may not know how to negotiate. You may not know how to maintain your seat at the table. And so a lot of the women are seeking for advice on the different strategies and maybe some tools that they had never even thought about to use to tackle and navigate those experiences. And so I really find it refreshing to know that I've been through so many different environments and so many different situations that I can offer the help and the support that they need.
Well said. Well said. So that I mean, I have a ton of questions for you. I know the interview is kind of wrapping up, but I have
Yeah.
like a ton of things I would love to ask you. But as we do close, I always end with the same question. What is the one thing that you want your audience to remember most about you, and then also the work that you're doing?
So I want to be remembered as one of the many Black women that are serving in our military services who was able to shatter the stereotypes and break glass ceilings. Um, it is not by pure chance. It was by hard work and taking on those hard leadership roles and learning from them. So I nailed it, I dominated it, and I killed it in the United States Air Force. And now I'm helping to empower all the other military leaders who want to further in their military career as well.
Perfectly said. Well, I'm looking at the people in the comments, and they are absolutely agreeing that you deserve to carry the title Slay. So move forward with that and prosper, Rochelle. But look, if y'all are ready to slay too, if you have a woman, and if you are a woman, or if you have a woman in your life that think could benefit from being a part of the amazing community that Rochelle's created, make sure you connect with her, blackspeakersnetwork.com/find a speaker. And if you are an organization, if you are hosting a conference, seminar, workshop, women's event, anything along that line, I'm sure Rochelle would love to connect with you. So, Rochelle, thanks again for joining us and, of course, being part of the Black Speakers Network community.
Absolutely. Keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Goodbye.
Awesome, awesome. So as you can see, if this is your very first BSN Speaker Spotlight, this is the flavor of what we do. We're giving you a little taste, idea, perspective into what our members are doing, a little bit about their story, their background. But you get to learn so much in such a little bit of time. It's one of the reasons I love being able to do this. And so if you are part of the BSN family, put BSN in the comments. We definitely would love to connect with the folks that are here and make sure whether you're watching live on a replay that we acknowledge the BSN folks that we have in the building. So we are coming to our next speaker. We just heard from Rochelle, that was in Oldington, Maryland. Our next speaker is right here on the East Coast as well. She's down in Georgia, so Powder Springs, Georgia specifically. And so Sasha Johnson, I want to welcome you to BSN Spotlight. Thanks for being here, and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, thank you for having me. A little bit about me is I am a licensed psychotherapist. I actually work with people in the community of Alabama, Georgia, and California. I am from Montgomery, Alabama, and I am considered to be a trauma and relationship expert. I have been working in this field for about 8 years, have experience with the prisons, jails, schools, you name it, I've done it. I'm also an author, radio host, and oh my goodness, I wear so many hats. I have a private practice called Inside and Out Consulting and a nonprofit organization that I focus on emotional support for men and for women. So I have a lot of amazing things that I'm trying to do to support and help alleviate the issue around our mental health stigmas.
Yes. Sasha, first of all, I am amazed that you have time to be here on this interview because you are busy. You know what I'm saying? So that is
Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. So let's dig into a little bit of this. You mentioned that you've done, you have at least 8 years of experience in the mental health realm. What got you fascinated with, because I think there's a difference between saying, hey, I just want to be, a therapist or a counselor, or, a coach in the mental health space, but you're not only, in addition to having your own private practice, you're also, providing training. I know you're partnering with law enforcement. You're doing so much. So like, what was it that got you passionate about serving in this space?
If I be honest, it was the trauma of it at first for me. It was personal. I had a mother who was suffering with some mental issues, and it was affecting me during high school times mostly. And during that time, it was really, really difficult for me to understand what was going on in the dynamic of our home. And so I just refused to accept that it's just, I didn't understand what was going on. I needed to know what was going on. I needed to learn. I needed to get the knowledge behind why my mom was experiencing what she was experiencing, so that hopefully one day I could help her, at least guide her in the right direction.
Wow. It starts at home. Yeah, I think so often, we have something that our loved ones have experienced, and certainly we can experience things ourselves, but that kind of becomes a calling to, go out and into the world and ensure that, we either protect or help other people, like minimize their pain.
Yes.
So I think that's incredible. So what is, I'm really curious. Mental health, again, is another one of these conversations that shows up in the Black community, particularly probably not often enough. And but I do think things are, improving. The stigma around mental health, I think, still is prevalent. But I feel like 2022 is a lot better than 2002 when it comes to, even talking publicly, letting people know that you're in therapy. Do you see that yourself? Like, do you feel like the mental health conversation just within the Black community is trending in the right direction?
I do believe that it's trending in the right direction. I will be honest and say that I have still seen a lot of challenges, but it's not necessarily that the Black community is not starting to be more aware, but it's the resources that are available, or lack of resources that are available for the Black community. It's still a lot of Black people that do not have insurance, that do not have the finances. The finances. It's just a lot more to the picture than just understanding mental health, which is why I also, with my nonprofits, provide some free counseling services.
Yeah, I see that. And even just like navigating, I know, having access to the right insurance plan, making sure that you can actually find a provider. And then I know it's not just, finding a mental health professional sometimes, but it's also finding like the right fit for you can also be very, very challenging. So you bring up some really incredible points. Who are the people that you are most interested in talking to right now? Of course, you're doing great work, in your home state of Georgia. I know you're talking to like law enforcement and other communities, but in terms of organizations or just people in general, like who are you most interested in speaking to?
I have two, if I be honest. The first one, honestly, if I could help the police to understand more about how to properly handle people that are suffering with mental illness to avoid people being hurt, killed. That is something I would love to do, more trainings for the police force. That's one community. The other community, because I've dove so much into my women, and my nonprofit focused on them for about 7 years. And now we've branched off and added an entity called Brothers Deserve a Chance for Men, because I want to make sure that men understand it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to show your emotions, and we support you.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Brothers Deserve a Chance, right? Yeah. That's the name of the organization. Brothers Deserve a Chance. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We definitely want to get that information out. And that's what goes back to what you were saying before. Sometimes we could look out in the world and just say, oh, well, there's just not enough resources. There's not enough help. There aren't enough wraparound services to support a specific population. And then here, we have, a person like you, Sasha, who says, okay, well, let me go and create capacity to help and to serve. So I really, really love that. We're coming to the end of the conversation. Of course, if you want to connect with Sasha, there are so many. I know just looking at the comments, we have a robust network of mental health practitioners from across the industry here in BSN. That I'm sure would love to connect with you as well. But, folks in those two target markets that you mentioned, if that is you, please make sure that you connect with her, blackspeakersnetwork.com/find a speaker. But I'll give you the last word, Sasha. In your opinion, what is the most important thing that you want your audience to remember about you and the work that you're doing?
The most important thing that I want to say to the audience is, I know that there's a fire burning in you. It's something that you want to accomplish in your life. Do not stop. Do not let anything stop you, hold you back, or break you, because you deserve to be gentle with yourself and accomplish whatever it is that you desire in your life.
Well said. Well said. Well, Sasha, I appreciate you again. I'm in awe. Every time I talk to people like you, I'm just like, I feel kind of lazy. I'm like,
you're not lazy.
I feel like I'm not doing enough.
You're not lazy.
But we all should be operating in our zone of genius, and I think you're doing that. So thank you so much. And of course, thanks for being part of the Black Speakers Network community.
Again, thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Guys, we are rocking and rolling. If this is helpful, if you are meeting some people, if you're learning some things, and if you are just inspired, I want you to drop a hashtag, hashtag BSN in the comments. We really want to make sure that folks get an opportunity to connect with the speakers that are here. Also, and I really, really mean this. When you just go to blackspeakersnetwork.com/find a speaker and you look at that directory, even if you're not searching for a specific person, which you absolutely should connect with the speakers here tonight, you'll get a chance to see the diversity of talent, the skills, the backgrounds. We have folks, as you already heard from tonight, who are doing incredible research. We're not just talking about what's happening, but also extending the body of knowledge that's out here for the topics that we're talking about, that are creating programs that are building. And so what you'll often find with speakers is that most of the folks that you're connecting here with in BSN, we're not just great speakers. And of course, we could deliver a message, but we are also creating real change and real transformation in the communities that we serve. And that's one of the things I love so much. So speaking of transformation, I am super excited to connect with our next speaker. I understand that she is up in Detroit, Michigan, and that is Miss Shavonne Moorer is here. And so, Shavonne, welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight, and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, good evening, everyone. I am a brand enthusiast. I am also a podcaster, speaker, and I also have a business called Savvy Global Brands. I'm also a graduate from Oakland University with my Bachelor's of Arts and Communications.
Very good, very good. So again, making me feel lazy, but that's okay because you're doing incredible work. So tell us a little bit about your journey, kind of what got you to this point, and I would just love to know if anything along the way has really influenced your direction that you decided to take thus far.
Yes, most definitely. I actually started as a youth producer straight out of high school. And also into college, I started my background into branding, which I've been working as a brand ambassador for so many years. So at this point, I've been able to work with local and national brands and also do what I love. So that's basically what I do.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about, I want to dig into this area, particularly since you're in kind of like the marketing, branding space. When you say brand ambassador, what is, to the uninitiated, Siobhan, because I know there's a lot of people that are listening like, wow, that sounds really cool. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means and what some of your experiences have been?
Yes, most definitely. So with as a brand ambassador, I've been able to work in an event space where I'm working to represent a brand, which is to talk about what the brand entails and represent that brand in front of different customers and give give out give out product or samples to different customers based on what I'm representing.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. A lot of people don't realize how many opportunities there are for work like that. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you're a global brand like Coca-Cola or a niche startup, like every single brand in the world has one idea, and that is to get customers to increase awareness and to get in front of their target market. And so, if you could do that, then you are well on your way to doing something. So, tell us a little bit, Siobhan, about the people that you like love working with as a speaker, the audiences that you like being in front of, the people that you like impacting the most.
I really love being in the entertainment media art space, developing and seeing how different talent are able to go from beginning stages to really big, talent. So I love being in that space in the arts entertainment.
Very good, very good. And you're in Detroit, which is, I mean, arguably one of the most influential entertainment hubs, particularly when you think about going back, within the Black music scene specifically. Barry Gordon. You got like the the talents of history, right around the corner from you. And so, what a great place to be and to, be able to make that kind of impact. Um, for meeting planners right now, like I know we often have folks who are hosting podcasts, who are like thinking about hosting their own events, conferences, virtual experiences, etc. What are the types of organizations that you like speaking in front of? Are you trying to? I know entertainment is pretty broad. There's film, there's music, there's television, there's all sorts of things. But is there specific organizations or types of groups that you are most interested in getting in front of now or into 2023?
I really would like to be at the Essence Festival one day. Like, I really want to do that. I want to do the conferences and webinars and seminars. Those are basically areas that I really want to speak in.
Yeah. Essence is, of course, one of the larger stages in the world. I
Yes.
think um, one of the great things about the last few years, unfortunately, the pandemic, of course, has been devastating for live events, but it has also opened up so many opportunities to really broker some of those relationships, particularly being able to connect with some of the virtual platforms that I've seen Essence create and curate over time. So you never know. You just never know. But as we wrap up the conversation, Shavonne, I definitely want to give you the last word. What is the most important thing that you want your audience to remember about you and the work that you're doing right now?
I want people to remember one thing about me, that I am someone that's about my business, about my family, and also being able to enjoy to see how people develop within their roles, if it's from starting their own business or they're a top millionaire. So it really doesn't matter to me as far as what area you are in life, as long as you continue to move forward.
Hey, well said. You got to keep moving. You got to keep progressing. So, Shavonne, I want to thank you so much for just sharing a little bit with us. Again, y'all, you're just getting the tip of the iceberg. I seen the list of some of the brands that you worked with, Shavonne, top organizations in the world, Dell, NBC, Groupon, the list goes on. And so I know for a fact that you you have experience in this space and that a lot of people could benefit from. So if you want to connect with Shavonne, be sure to head over to blackspeakersnetwork.com/, find a speaker and get connected. And Shavonne, again, thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for being part of the Black Speakers Network community. All right, guys, we are rocking and rolling. We have 6 speakers that you're hearing from. We have 2 speakers left, and we're ready to kind of get rolling. Before we do, though, I know some people have been asking about, Black Speakers Network, who we are, what we do, and really like the impact that we have. And so I really just want to take a quick little 30-second break to share with you a little bit about Black Speakers Network, and then we will hear from our final 2 speakers. So I'll be back in just a few moments.
The thing that inspires me most about speaking is that you never know how your story could change someone's life. When you plan, practice, and prepare, you are in effect making your voice bigger than you. We are thought leaders, we are perspective shifters, and we are more than just speakers, because your concern is not so much how things come out of your mouth, but it's how is it impacting the people who are sitting in the audience.
At the end of the day, Black Speakers Network is really there for anyone who is longing to reach the audience that they're called to serve.
All right, so a little bit of just a little bit of perspective. If you're, again, brand new, you're not exactly sure who Black Speakers Network is, what we're doing. Again, we are a community of speakers, a global community, and our mission is to get you in front of your ideal audience. And so that when we hear us say, speak up, your audience awaits, we really do believe that you have an audience that is waiting for you. And sometimes getting to that audience may be the challenging part. And so if you're looking for additional training, resources, and access to speaking opportunities like this, then you're in the right place. So let's keep moving forward. Our next speaker is been waiting patiently backstage, and she is ready to go. And that is Sonja A. Keeve. She is from Fredericksburg, Virginia, right down the road. And Sonja, welcome to BSN Speaker Spotlight. And yeah, could you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you, Dr. Olds. Hello, everyone. My name is Sonja Keeve, and I'm the CEO and founder of Sisters with a Voice Podcast Network, where I help women entrepreneurs get unstuck from thinking about starting a podcast to building, launching, and monetizing a podcast in just 30 days.
Yes. Sonja, you are speaking my language. Podcasting, I believe, one of the fastest growing marketing tools out there, and it is incredible. So I would love to talk more about that. Tell us a little bit, how did you get started in the podcasting phase? I know everybody has like their own podcasting story, so I would love to hear, how you got started.
It's really funny. My story started from a social media challenge where we had to be tasked with coming up with a product or service, but we had to be ready to implement it right away. And so someone had talked to me about podcasting, and I knew two things. I knew that I loved inspiring women, and I knew I loved to talk. So having a podcast, I wanted to interview guests. I saw myself as the next Oprah Winfrey. And so I asked my social media community, if I start a podcast, would you be my guest? And 50 women said yes. I didn't even have the name at the time of the podcast, but I knew I had to start with these 50 women. And Inspiring Nations podcast show was launched on March 10th of 2018, and now is heard in over 164 plus countries.
Listen, drop them stats, Sonja. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, and if y'all had any doubt, I mean, you hear the audio quality right now. I'm just saying, she knows what she's talking about. All right, so a couple things. Sisters with a Voice podcast network. So you're building a community. So I'm assuming that you are not only supporting people who are interested in building, launching, and monetizing their podcast, but then you're also creating this wraparound community around it. And so can you talk to us a little bit about how that works?
Yep. So in my Facebook community group, it's called Build, Launch, and Monetize. And we created this Facebook group because the thing that I found was that women only represented 22% of all podcasters in the world. And for me, I said, we've got to change that because we have these powerful stories. We have powerful inspiration to help other women, but many times we don't have the platforms that really help and support us. And so inside of that community, we have seasoned podcasters, we have aspiring podcasters, and it is a community that we help uplift one another to help grow and build this community of podcasting, because it is a platform that if Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter ever went down, I always want to ask people, how do you connect to your clients and community? And so when COVID happened, a lot of businesses went under, but I was still operating my business because I was always in a virtual space. And so now people don't realize how much they need a podcast, but when they work with me and they're inside of this community, they begin to see all the possibilities of how podcasting can help build, grow, and scale their business.
I love it. Absolutely. Yeah, I learned a long time ago not to put all your faith in the social verse, if you will, because somebody could flip a switch and that could be all for any number of things that
Absolutely.
You're putting your faith in the hands of other people. So I would love to know from your perspective. So we talked about building, launching, and monetizing a podcast. For most of the folks that you're working with, what is the largest hang up that people, or maybe you can call it excuse or misconception, like there has to be something where people are looking at a podcast and like, wow, I really, really want one, but there's probably something that is stopping them from moving forward. So from your perspective, what's that biggest thing? Is it like the pulling together the concept, like the building? Is it the launching, getting things together with the technology? Or is it once you already have the podcast, is it actually learning how to grow it and monetize it?
Well, I have found just in speaking with so many people around the world, some of the biggest hangups is one, that it's too expensive to begin. And that is so untrue. People think I need to have such fancy equipment to get started. Honey, I started this podcast with a laptop on the speakers on the laptop. And so people feel like I don't know if I have enough content. And usually most people have more than enough content. They don't realize a lot of the written work that you do. If you've written books, spoken on stages, preached in the pulpit, you have content coming out of your ears, but they don't realize, how do I take all of that content and turn it into a podcast episode? And believe it or not, it's easier than you think. So time and having the commitment to show up. I tell people, if you've got time to open your mouth and share what you do, you've got time to start a podcast.
Come on, look, somebody drop, I'm ready in the comments. Like, Sonja, you're giving me take all the excuses away vibes. That's what you're giving me right now. And it's absolutely true. Okay, so good stuff with that. And so right now, I'm assuming that the majority of your audience are, entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, or have a business or a brand. Is that true?
Yep. So many of them are dualpreneurs, and then many of them are aspiring entrepreneurs or seasoned business owners. And so I really love connecting with women that are coaches, thought leaders, speakers, authors, ministers, because this space is beautiful for you to share your voice and share your power. Like I said before, many people don't start a podcast because they don't realize how to actually create it and build it successfully. And statistics have shown that 54% of those who have tuned into a podcast have bought a product or service simply by connecting on a podcast, and they've gotten the visibility. So every one of you that are watching, you've got expertise and you need to get more visibility around what you do. You know, the old way of networking sometimes doesn't always fit the mold. And so I always say podcasting is the new sexy.
I think it is the new sexy. And I do think, though, that there are some things that, and I'm sure you kind of go into in your community around how to differentiate yourself within the podcasting space as well. And so I think, aligning yourself with a community like you're building is the best place, just like we have Black Speakers Network. You're getting best practices, you're seeing what other people are doing, you're refining kind of your process. You provide the same thing. So I think that's incredible.
Absolutely.
I have like 80 more questions, but we're kind of running out of time. However, I do want to give you the last word. Most important thing you want your audience and people to know about the work that you're doing. If you could share that with us, that'll close us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for this opportunity. And honestly, the thing that I want to just leave with you is that don't let this year pass you by before you start a podcast. Many of us have said, God has told me to start a podcast. My friends have said, start a podcast, but don't let the fear stop you from stepping into a space that can help you get the visibility, credibility, and profitability for your business. Podcasting is not going anywhere. As of 2021, there are over 2 million podcast shows in the world. And so my question to you is, how could it change the trajectory of your business if you incorporated a podcasting? Because the thing about podcasting, you don't have to change anything you're doing with your business right now. As I always say, it's time for you to put your mouth where your money is, because podcasting ain't that complicated.
Listen, somebody put "ain't complicated" in the comments as we close out. Sonja, thank you so much for sharing. Within BSN, we have a major focus on podcasting. We started a podcast directory. We have the BSN Podcast Power Match. And so I agree with what you're saying. It ain't going nowhere, and it's for good reason. The numbers are still trending in the right direction. And so really love the work that you're doing with Sisters with a Voice Podcast Network. And so keep up the incredible work. And of course, thank you so much for being part of the BSN community as well.
It was my honor and pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, guys. I got follow-up items. You know what I mean? Like, I got people to talk to. I got stuff to do. This is really, really good stuff. And hopefully you're getting inspired as well. I'm just looking at the comments and seeing the takeaways and the connections that are being made. And again, make sure you head to blackspeakersnetwork.com, find the speaker, and it is linked in whatever platform you're working on. So we made it nice and easy for you, and just find the speaker that you want to connect with today and make sure that you take action. So last and certainly not least, we're coming to our final speaker of the evening. I'm really excited because this guy is right in my own backyard. He's right down the road in Columbia, Maryland. And so we got Nichols, the habit strategist, in the building. I want to welcome you, Ty, to BSN Speaker Spotlight, and tell the people a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Well, thanks, Brian. As you said, I'm located here in Columbia, Maryland. And about me, first of all, I'm a husband and a father. Me and my wife have been married for 17 years. Our first child is in high school, just starting out, and our daughter's in fifth grade. But also, I'm a man under construction that has seen success and failure in the corporate world, education, nonprofits, and personal development. But today, I'm a Tiny Habits certified coach and a behavioral design expert.
Mhm. Listen, so much to unpack there. First of all, you got kids in high school. That's incredible. Like I feel like that should be a masterclass in and of itself. Like how to get the kids from here to there. So congratulations on that, my friend. So let's dive into it, man. How did you become? And there are a couple of terms I want to unpack. You mentioned tiny habits. I want to get into that. But you are the man under construction. So like, what was it that kind of led you up to this point? What were, marker moments, or what was it that said, you know what? Not only am I going to do these things for myself, but I'm also going to help flip the switch for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. It really began in my doctor's office. See, you guys wouldn't notice, but a few years ago, I was roughly 500 pounds. And I was in my doctor's office, and he gave me some serious come to Jesus talk and said I had to make some changes. And at that time, I had done all the Jenny Craigs and the ketos, and none of it was working. It wasn't until I found the power of habit formation and behavior design that I was actually able to change my life forever. I've lost over 200 pounds and still going. And from there, I decided to dig in deeper and help others just like me that have been stuck. So I worked with BJ Fogg, and I still work with him today. BJ Fogg is the lead researcher at Stanford University who came up with the behavioral fog model. And I work with him week in and week out, just helping others to realize that habits can really change your life.
What an incredible testimony, man. Dropping all that weight. And I think sometimes like life like smacks you in the face and you're kind of faced with that decision. And then you have a choice to go one way or another. And some people don't choose to do anything and some people do. And like, look at the results, man. So tell me a little bit about, you talked about, obviously you're the habit strategist. You talked a little bit about your story. Who are the people that like, they're just like, if we just put you in a room with them, like they are your people, man. Like who are the people that you gravitate to, that you love working with and serving?
Well, the first two sets of people, first, they're leaders. I love helping leaders to lead better, helping them increase their confidence, influence, and impact through habit leadership. I remember being in my first role as a leader and not knowing what I was doing. It was going through trial and fire that allowed me to develop a lot of different habits that I was able to mentor a lot of leaders along the way. My next group are those folks that are stuck, that were just like me. You tried the Atkins, you tried the Jenny Craig, you tried the keto and all of that, and it just wasn't really working. Well, I'm here to tell you that the path to healthy and abundant living is paved with healthy and intentional habits. And I can help you to develop those habits through behavioral design.
I love it, man. You're dropping so much knowledge right now. So let's dive a little bit into like the leadership conversation, because I know across BSN and then within our audience, of course, we have leaders from, yeah, first of all, if you're an entrepreneur, you're certainly going to be, a leader in your own right. But organizational leaders as well. What are some maybe just give us one, because I know you could probably get into, you could break it down, but maybe like what's one habit that you feel like leaders, let's say you're you're a new leader, recently promoted, in a traditional organization. What do you think is one habit that you would have a new leader adopt as they are getting ready to kind of take on bigger roles, bigger positions?
Absolutely. I love this question. First and foremost, it's really what we call a keystone habit. And the keystone habit is one behavior that bleeds into other areas of your life. And if there's something that I could say, do this right now, is get to 7, 8 hours of sleep. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I can guarantee you just doing that will change your world. But that just doesn't mean I'm just going to lay down at 10 o'clock. That means taking the phone, putting that in another room. That means when you wake up, don't grab the phone first. Start doing a morning routine before you hop on social media or on your computer or your email. Make sure you get your full rest and wake up fully awake before you jump into the world.
That's powerful, man. Look, and I think that definitely needs to be a message communicated more broadly, because that kind of goes against some of the hustle culture, the work, the team no sleep culture that is sometimes at odds with that. But our bodies function off of very basic things that haven't changed a lot over the last, couple hundred years. And sleep, I think, is one of those. And so I'm so glad to hear people talk about that, man. So in terms of speaking, what are some of the organizations right now that you are interested in getting in front of? Of course, you're talking to leaders primarily, but what are some of the stages, some of the organizations, some of the platforms that you're most interested in speaking to?
Absolutely. I love speaking to corporations and businesses, helping their leaders to lead their teams better and building a team environment. Oftentimes, I just was on a call with a gentleman about toxic leadership, and he hadn't even realized, from an outsider just answering my questions, I identified toxic leaders within his organization. So I love to work with organizations to build a team atmosphere. I'm also really focused on schools right now. As I've been delving into my son's high school and football and all of that, I really want to get some more healthy high school habits in place for these teenagers so that they can be better prepared to face the world.
Very, very powerful, man. Look, I think you're doing amazing work. And obviously, I think leadership development, helping organization, like if your leaders aren't effective, you can throw everything else out the window. It doesn't matter if it's nonprofit, government, corporations. Like, if the leaders don't have it together, nobody's going to have it together. So I love the work that you're doing, but you're focusing on something specific that's actionable, which is habits. And I don't hear too many people talking about that specifically, but you got this thing nailed down because it's something that you could immediately start to control and work on. So, brother, I appreciate you. I know we got to wrap up. I do want to give you the last word. What is the most important thing that you want your audience, what you want people to remember about you and the work that you're doing right now, Ty?
Yeah. So, you just hit on it firstly when you talk about habits, but habits are simply behavior. Habits are simply behavior that has reached a point of automaticity. But what I want you definitely to know is the difference between you and the life you want are the good habits you wish you had and the bad habits you wished you didn't. Success isn't a secret. Success is a system. And the most intuitive, innate, important system to have is habit formation. And I, as the habit strategist, help you design the life you want, one healthy habit at a time.
Listen, all right, man. I appreciate that so much. And what a perfect note, not just to end the interview on, but a perfect note to kind of bring things home here at Black Speakers Network, Speaker Spotlight, my friends. So if you need to connect with Ty, if you are a leader that needs to adopt some new habits, or simply put, maybe you have other leaders that you are responsible developing too, make sure that you connect with Ty. He's the only Ty Nichols at Black Speakers Network. They're on our directory, be at blackspeakersnetwork.com/find a speaker. Ty, thank you so much for sharing, my friend. And of course, thanks for being a part of Black Speakers Network community.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure when our paths cross.
Always, man. Always. Take care. All right, guys. Well, we are done. We've made it to another BSN Speaker Spotlight. And again, if you are a organization right now, it doesn't really matter when you're watching this, whether live or a future replay. Please make sure that you connect with us. We have a lot of speakers, as you just heard from today. Dr. Carl Stokes, Rochelle Hemingway, Sasha Johnson, Shavonne Moorer, Sonja, Keeve, and Ty Nichols. are absolutely here ready to serve you. And we have many, many more speakers that we've been interviewing as a part of this live interview series. And so please make sure you connect with us. And if you are a speaker yourself and you are looking to get access to training, resources, if you're looking for speaking opportunities like this, conferences, workshops, seminars, if you're trying to get on more podcasts, more opportunities to collaborate, to work with other speakers and thought leaders, BSN is your home. And so I encourage you to check out blackspeakersnetwork.com/join, find out what it means to become a BSN premium member and get connected. And so as we always say in BSN, keep speaking up because your audience awaits, and we will see you on stage.
Being at a HBCU like Morgan State University, I saw firsthand the talent, the expertise, the creativity that we bring to the table when it comes to this world of public speaking.
Black Speakers Network is a space where I can interact and engage with my tribe, with Black speakers.
It's all reflective of an abundance mindset that there is enough for all of us to win big.
BSN serves others not only in community, culture, but around the world.
BSN not only helped me book additional paid opportunities, but gave me the accountability and confidence booster I needed to really strive and thrive consistently in my business.
They curate all the engagements and email them to you. So all you have to do is simply click and apply to the one that's applicable for your niche.
I have built my business and have expanded my knowledge, met amazing people, and I have landed several speaking engagements.
I truly thank the entire team behind Black Speakers Network for helping me share my story with the world.
In less than 3 years, I was able to increase my visibility, my credibility, and even my connectivity.
What I experienced with BSN is phenomenal connections. And I've met so many great people that have added value to my life in ways I just wouldn't have expected.
If you want to speak on college stages, BSN has something for you. If you want to speak and sell, I feel like BSN has a cohort for you.
At the end of the day, Black Speakers Network is really there for anyone who is longing to reach the audience that they're called to serve.
Black Speakers Network truly is a place where you can feel like you're home.
If you are on the fence, get off the fence and join the family. You won't regret it.
It is the #1 organization that I recommend that every speaker become a member of if you really want to catapult your success and maximize to its fullest potential your voice.